All right, this is the next video when I'm trying to replace the or repair this rewinder. Removed the inner pulley and the spring that attaches to it, and here it is. This is the underside, and this is the other one that I'm going to have to install. And the reason that this didn't work is what you do is you take your hand and you rewind this wheel counterclockwise. In other words, here's your rewinder, and you take your hand, you go counterclockwise, and that spring starts to tighten. But if it's broken, when it gets so tight, it's going to go boing, spring, and it releases, and it proves to you that it's broken. And what in this case, what's broken about it, at first glance, it looks okay. It looks like this one, which I'm going to install. But if you'll notice, what's wrong is this point right. Get something to point with. Right. This point right here is where the spring has to come through that slot, and then the flat piece of this slot then goes this way, and that holds this spring in place as you wind it up. See, well, it's broken, and so that's the end of the spring there, with no sort of right angle flap on it. And this is what it's supposed to look like. And you can see that little right angle flap there, and it's going to grip that, so that when I turn this and go to rewind it, that's going to kind of slip into place, and this spring should wind up. So let's find out. This one is broken, so the actual pulley wheel is okay. So I'm going to save this in case I ever need to move another spring to it. I could move this spring to that wheel, but this is identical, so this should work. And the thing I wanted to show you is that this one is not broken. Often what happens is these little pins will break off, and then even more subtly, these little pins will break off. And you need that there to keep the dog from over traveling when you pull it, because it butts up against that on each side. And this one has both of them, and this one does too. So this pulley wheel, rewinder wheel, is usable if I ever put a spring in it. But since I've got this good one here, let's set it down. There's a lot of dirt in there. Let me see if I can get that out just by tapping on it. That's helped a little bit. There's still a lot in there. Let me get a wire brush and kind of run it around in there and knock some of that loose, and then kind of turn it over and dump it again. There is no lubrication on this. Oh, by the way, the post that loop on the spring is going to connect to, sometimes they get worn out or broken, but that one looks okay. So, and it's in place and it looks okay. So I'm going to do this a few more times. Hit that, and I'm going to at least put a drop of oil in there. I think it would probably be more correct to put a little piece of bearing grease or axle grease, but just some kind of a lubrication on there. I'm going to put it there on that post. And let's see now if it'll, what you want to do is find that loop that's going to fit around that post, which is right there, and put it in position where when I turn this counterclockwise, that it's going to grab that post. And let's see, you can usually tell pretty quickly if it's grabbed it. And in this case, see, it has not. So let's try again. Let me see if I can get that spring to grab that post. Nope, still not grabbing it. Maybe there's something down in there keeping it from grabbing it. Kind of hard for me to see down there. Maybe some grease or something. Yep. There's there's a lot of grease right down in there. That may be keeping that from grabbing. So let's see. I'm going to try one more time here. It's just spinning around. The spring is not grabbing. I've got to figure out why that is not grabbing that. Okay, you see that right there? It's grabbing that post. So hopefully that will work. And so now I get my little piece that fits on there, but before I can install that, I've got to replace the dogs. There's one there. And that moves pretty good. And there's one here. And that one moves out pretty good. Still got my spring tension, see that? Now the question is, will that spring tension stay on there when I start twisting it, or will it spring loose like the other one? I don't think that it will, but it might. So I can't do all this and film it. So when you come back, I will have tightened this down with a 5/16, and you got to hold the little dogs in while you tighten that, and make sure that that they are working the way they're supposed to, and we'll check that at the end. So let me install this. When you come back, you'll see how it's working, hopefully.